Imagine it's your wedding day. You've just said "I do," and the world feels like it's yours to conquer. But what if, instead of a honeymoon, you were met with a knock on the door from the government, telling you that your love is a crime? This is the story of Richard Loving and Mildred Jeter, a couple whose love defied the racist laws of the late 1950s Virginia. Richard was white, Mildred was black, and in the eyes of the law, their marriage was illegal. Can you even fathom that? Love being outlawed? In 1958, they traveled to Washington, D.C., where interracial marriage was legal. They thought they had outsmarted the system. But upon returning to Virginia, their lives turned into a nightmare. Just weeks into their marriage, police barged into their home, arresting them, not for any crime, but for being married. Picture this: you're in bed, and suddenly, officers are shining flashlights in your face, demanding answers. It's surreal, right? The Lovings were charged under Virginia's Racial Integrity Act, which banned marriage between white and non-white people. Can you believe that was a law? Their options were grim: a year in prison or exile from their home state for 25 years. Imagine being forced to leave everything you know, all because of the color of your skin. It's like being thrown out of a game for simply playing alongside someone different. How is that justice? For years they lived in Washington, D.C., feeling homesick, missing their families and the fields they once roamed. They wanted to return home as a married couple without the stigma of being criminals. Isn't it heartbreaking to think about how love can be criminalized? With the help of the ACLU, they decided to challenge their conviction, and their case reached the U.S. Supreme Court. The question was monumental. Can a state deny two people the right to marry based on race? Virginia argued yes, claiming it wasn't discriminatory because it punished both races equally. But really, was that just a smokescreen to maintain white supremacy? The Lovings' lawyers argued that marriage is a personal choice, and denying it based on race violated the Constitution. The Supreme Court listened, and on June 12, 1967, they ruled unanimously that marriage is a fundamental right. Can you imagine the weight of that decision? With that ruling, Virginia's law was struck down, and the remaining bans on interracial marriage across America were wiped off the books. Richard and Mildred could finally live freely in Virginia as husband and wife. But their story didn't just end there. Their case set a precedent that would resonate for decades. It became a cornerstone for the fight for same-sex marriage, culminating in the Obergefell v. Hodges decision in 2015. Isn't it fascinating how one couple's desire for love reshaped the landscape of equality in America? Richard and Mildred weren't activists. They were just two ordinary people wanting to live their lives. But their courage transformed the definition of love and equality. Their last name, Loving, seems almost poetic, doesn't it? Because in the end, this case wasn't just about laws. It was about the universal right to love. Thanks to Richard and Mildred Loving, love won. So, what does this mean for us today? Are we still fighting against forms of love being criminalized? What can we learn from their story about standing up for what's right? Let's keep the conversation going.